It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. And now your host, Riscala Stevens.
Well, good morning to you out there. A little bit of an overcast here in South Florida, but we are going to do the show come rain or shine. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. It's the Fish Florida Show. We are here every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m., and I am always so grateful for my co-host, Pam Worth. She's one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida, bringing a unique perspective to the table. She's literally right there at the water's edge, and like I said, always an honor and a privilege to have her on with me. Good morning, Miss Pam. How are you doing?
Good morning, Riscala. I'm doing great. Still getting used to the time change, but doing great. Thank you for having me on.
My mind says it's time to get up, and my body says, yeah, you just go ahead and try it and see what happens. Yeah, I'm lagging. You know, it reminds me of the days, my younger days, many years ago, when we would go out on a Friday night and do things we shouldn't do, and then Saturday morning, supposed to get up and do a shift, and I'd be going, I don't think I can I don't think I can get up. Kind of reminds me of those days because my mind is kind of, okay, let's go do it. And my body's going, nah, I don't think so. I think
there's a song out there that says, you're getting old when your body can't do what your mind sets out. Maybe
How
that's
true.
Little Feat. I don't know who sang that.
But I am ever so grateful that regardless how my mind thinks or my body thinks, I'm still capable of going fishing. Thank you, God.
Yes, I agree there.
Still able to do the thing that makes my heart beat, and I so much love it. So today we're going to have, again, a variety of guests. Robert will be one of our first guests. Robert will be the first guest. Robert is with the Fish Florida magazine. Another one of the guests that comes on. He's a regular with me. You can find him on fishfloridamag.com. Constantly bringing updated information. This is why I enjoy having him on. He has a kind of a finger on the action that's going on around South Florida, particularly on the East Coast. Due to the magazine, he has a lot of people call in and give him feedback and stuff like that. We're going to have Captain Charlie Rogers on. Charlie, I was introduced to Captain Rogers through Robert. I don't know a whole lot about Captain Rogers other than I believe he's down in the Keys. He runs against the grain charters, and we're going to hear from him this morning, some of the stuff that's going on down there. We're going to have Paul Van Reenen on. We've had him on, I think, once or twice before. He is with Unfair Lures. I think this morning he's going to be reporting out of Louisiana. I think he's in a show up there. And then, of course, we'll have Jeff Goldberg. Jeff was unable to make the last show. He had issues with his cell phone. He's resolved that, and he'll be calling in this morning. Jeff is up there in New York. Those of us who are here in Florida complaining about the heat. Just going to talk a little bit about ice fishing, I think, and what to do in the case when, okay, now the ice is gone and you've got all your ice fishing gear. How are you going to store it? So what's the best way to do that? So we'll ask him about that as well. And then, of course, at the end of the show, I have Angelia. And Angelia is going to be a regular at the end of the show. She's down in Islamorada, I think. She's down in one of the Keys. I'll have to ask her. I don't remember, but I think it is Islamorada is where she's at.
Yeah, Islamorada.
Yeah, and she's an individual that is a guide and a captain, a professional, and has her hands on what's going on down there in the Keys, so we'll hear from her as well. So you did some fishing this weekend, or this week?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I was out there fishing in between all the spring breakers because Tampa, St. Petersburg is a great area for spring break.
Uh-huh.
But got a lot of redfish and some nice trout, so I was real happy about that. I'm glad to see you've got Paul coming on. Paul's a friend of mine and lives just north of me.
Oh, yeah?
His lures are
I think you introduced me to him.
Unique.
Yeah, I think I found out about him through you.
Yep, I've fished with Paul before. A very unique individual.
I like the name of Unfair Lures. I've only seen pictures of the lures. I've never seen them live or in action or anything. But if the name is anything attributable to the lures, he's got a heck of a deal going on.
They were really good. I haven't posted it on my Instagram because I only posted the redfish that I caught. But I got some really nice trout on Friday, and I got them on the Unfair Lures.
Wow, really?
So,
wow.
Yeah, I'll try to get that posted up today or tomorrow.
Yeah, if you can send me a picture, I'll put it up on the Facebook page. Now, while I'm speaking about Facebook, there are those who still don't know. You can go to our Facebook page, Fish Florida Show on Facebook page. I was going to say fishfloridashow.com. That's our website. You can go to the Fish Florida Show Facebook page, click on Contact Us, and you can listen to us through Facebook. If for whatever reason you're not able to get data and you have unlimited calling, you can actually call and listen in. Just listen. You won't be able to talk to us, but you can listen in. And that number is 701-719-9704. Share that with some of the people who may not have access to a lot of data, or they may have limited data and they don't want to just, use up their data listening to the show. They can always call in if they have unlimited calling. We try to make it as easy as we can for you. There's several different ways that you can hear us. You can hear us on the app. The app is absolutely free. How many times have you heard about something? It's a free download, and you download it, only find out that, okay, the download is free, and now to use whatever it is, I got to pay. We're not like that. Ours is absolutely 100% free. It's free to download. It's free to use. A powerful tool in the palm of your hands. Gives you weather reports, tides, winds, all kinds of stuff. And you can always listen to the Fish Florida show. You can find the app on any of the major stores, Fish Florida app. And again, it's free. There's not a whole lot of things anymore that are free that are actually something that's worthwhile. This is one of them. Let's see, what else can we tell you about this morning? I was going to mention that we have WCET.FM. They are one of the stations that play our show in the morning. I wanted to thank them for doing that. High Point Radio is another one. There's one of the radio stations that play our show. They're up in New Jersey and New York and part of New Hampshire, I believe. I want to say thank you to all of them out there that play the show for us. We have quite a few people locally that listen. The servers are getting loaded up. So each and every one of you, thank you for taking the time to listen in. And we should be hearing here from Robert here in a moment. Anything else you want to pass on there, Miss Pam?
I just want to say, I want to remind everybody that it's almost up, but over on the West Coast, from about Pasco County all the way down to almost the end of Naples, is a catch and release area for snook and redfish. And CCA has now released about 2,000 fish up in Pasco. I saw that. In Hillsborough, and now down in Sarasota. So if you're not a member of the CCA, please do that. I am a life member. I really support a lot of the work. I mean, no organization is 100% perfect, but they are an amazing organization and have a great, and summer's about here, they have a great tournament that they run all summer long. It's a CPR tournament, catch, photograph, and release, but if the fish is legal and it's within season, you can keep it. And some great prizes like automobiles and boats and money for collecting trash. That's the one. I got to tell you, that really rings a bell with me. You're going to go out there, you're going to go fishing, you're going to have a good time. You see a piece of plastic floating by, you see a piece of wood floating by, you pick it up and you put it in your boat. When you get back, there is an opportunity for you to win a prize. I mean, come on, that's pretty hard to beat, I got to tell you. You're going to pick up trash, you put it in your boat, you take it back, they check it out, they put you in I think it's a lottery or a drawing or something like that. But it does give you the opportunity to win some. You're doing something good, and in exchange for that, and the good that you're doing, by the way, isn't just for you. It's for everybody. That's the part that I enjoy. And so you put it in your boat, you go back, and they look at what you got, and they give you a chance at the drawing, and who knows, you might win something. Yep, you just fill up for every time you fill up I think it's a 5-gallon bucket.
I seem to remember something. Yep.
Yeah, you take a picture of it, you send it in, and you're right, it's part of their drawing. But, I mean, what a great thing to do as a family or, like, a church organization, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, any type of organization to get out there and do some really great community service for
everybody. Yeah, everybody wins.
Florida's known for.
That's the kind of stuff I like. Everybody wins. It looks like we have Robert on the line with us. Good morning, Robert. How are you doing, my friend?
Good morning.
That was short.
I don't think Robert's had all his coffee.
Oh, Robert.
No, I had to unmute my phone.
Oh, okay. So what's going on, my friend?
Oh, let's see. In case you haven't noticed, the cobia are everywhere. Patrick Price out of Daymaker Charters here in Stewart he ended up with 12 yesterday with his charter.
Wow.
The biggest one was about 45 pounds. So
oh, my goodness.
They are of some size, too. The missing sailfish returned. The day before that, the charter out of Delray went 6 for 8 on sailfish. So the sailfish are here. Now we've got this cold front coming through. So now we got to see where they're gonna move to. We've got a cold front coming through Tuesday. This one today, this was sort of mild. I don't think this is going to change anything too much. But the one coming through Tuesday is a little more, little colder. Probably going to move the fish again, so now you'll have to retrack them and find them all over again.
Oh, well, that's part of the fun of going fishing, you know. It's like searching for treasure, right? You dig here, it's nothing.
Pretty much.
And so you go find somewhere else. Yeah, and it looks like, you know anything about this front that's coming through? Because I'm looking at the map, and it looks like it's headed down. It's moved down a little bit since this morning when I first looked at it. It's down near the Ocala area now. A little bit of it off of Apalachicola. Is it supposed to stall? Do you know?
I don't know, but it's supposed to put the temperatures into the 50s at night.
Oh, wow.
Which is cold enough to move the fish around. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but at least we're out of that 40-degree weather. It's brought the kingfish in. I was thinking about going out today.
You can't get away from the kingfish. You cannot escape them. I talked to our captain down in Key Largo, Charlie Rogers, who is supposed to be on here with us at 8:25. He picked up a charter, though, so not real sure about that. But the other day he said he was out, and he said there was just kingfish everywhere. You couldn't get away from them. No matter where you went, they were there. So.
Well, that's a good sign. That means that we still got plenty of fish out there.
Yep.
Wow. Any tournaments going on, Robert?
Yes. If you take a look on Summer Warren's page, she's got one coming up. The registration started already. I believe the tournament is actually in June, but registration has started already. So
cool. So we'll have to go look up Summer's page, and I think it's about time to have her back on anyway. Get kind of caught up with her. We haven't had her on in a little over a month and a half, maybe now 2 months. So I think I'll give her a call. Maybe we can get her on next week, get an update of what's going on. Anything else going on that you want to share?
Well, yeah, it rained as everybody noticed yesterday. It rained a lot.
Yeah.
So at least where I am, so it rained a lot. So I had the opportunity to watch most of Blue Planet 2. Anybody who has never watched that, it was done by the BBC. You really should, especially the section on reefs and what's going on with the reefs and the bleaching of them.
How sad.
And just see, and then it also gets into the amount of plastics. I noticed that you were talking about people picking up trash and getting, prizes for it. The amounts of plastic in the ocean right now is just ridiculous.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
they're finding.
But it can be fixed.
Yes.
We just need to all get behind this program and do our share, and it can be fixed. It's not a permanent thing. It is if we ignore it, but if we don't ignore it, it can be done. There's people that have done some brilliant work on the cleanup of this stuff. Those 2 young kids out of California have created this machine that's basically like a water vacuum.
Yeah, that thing's amazing.
Yeah, and there's stuff that can be done. Everybody do your part, and it'll fix itself. So
that's right. It didn't get this way by itself. So we're going to have to pitch in, each of us, and do our part. And when you have people like CCAs, there's one thing I really like about. I've never heard of a tournament where you have a trash. What do you call it? A trash section.
Division.
Yeah. I never heard of anything like that.
Never. How much are some of those fish worth if you catch the right fish?
Oh, my gosh. A car, a boat. What else do they got, Pam?
Yeah, they have tagged redfish out there, and technically you guys should enter the tournament right now, because if you caught a red tagfish like a friend of mine did about a month ago, and you're entered in the tournament, a red tagfish from last year that didn't get caught, it's $1,000 worth of prizes to you.
Moly.
And the tournament hasn't even started. But the tournament runs from the end of May through, I think, the middle of September or somewhere along there. So it's basically when school's out. So it's a great opportunity for the kids. And you catch a tagged redfish, and you're right, it's a car, boat, and trailer. Awesome prizes, just really great prizes.
There was a young, if I'm not mistaken, there was a young man who caught one of those fish last year, I think it was. He was 16 years old. I'm going by memory, maybe a little off, but I think this is relatively accurate. I think he was around 16 years old. He won one of the major prizes. Because of his age, they couldn't give him the money, so they gave him the next best thing. They gave him a scholarship. So, again, this is something where everybody wins. I love this kind of thing.
Yep, they randomly pick, I think he had $15,000 scholarship, but in the youth division, they randomly select out of all the entries, I think 3 anglers, youth anglers, and they each receive up to about $5,000 in scholarship money.
Wow.
So it's totally amazing. I think it's one of the greatest programs out there, and it's so inexpensive. I think the entry fee is $35, and a year membership is maybe $40, or it's the other way around. And and for kids, it's free. It's just a great program.
We'll have to have her back on.
It is. It's a great program, and like you said, it's really inexpensive to get involved. You get newsletters, you get all sorts of stuff. You know what's going on. It's well worth the money. So
it's like I just got an email. I think you may have gotten it also, Robert. I got an email this week that said the commercial fishermen are now pressing to open sling nets, or we call them gill nets, which have been illegal, which has helped repopulate a number of the fishes out there, especially mullet. So it's like we need to be aware of these things and be proactive, and definitely not get those nets back in our waters.
Yeah,
absolutely. If everybody remembers the longliners off the coast here, that they moved way off the shore a few years back, it has helped tremendously. So.
Especially we'll end up getting boats from other countries in long lining and gill netting. And a gill net takes everything. It doesn't discriminate. Yeah. It takes everything.
And it's sad that, we outlaw things like that, but still people become greedy for whatever reason. And they go against the grain, so to speak, and they end up doing things like that, which ends up hurting everybody. They may gain whatever they gain from doing it, but they're the only ones who gain. Everybody else gets hurt by it because it like you said, it's not discriminatory. It's everything that's out there, whether it's a dolphin, whether it's a whale, it doesn't matter. If it's in the way, it's going to get picked up. And really, that's not what we want to do. I mean, that's not what I would prefer. I would prefer somebody who goes out and targets something, and that's what they want, and they go after that, and they find a way to only capture that. We have the technology to do it.
There's a very funny video out there somewhere. I don't remember exactly where I saw it, or I would tell you, but it was done off the coast over on the west coast, northern west coast, probably off of Canada or Alaska somewhere, where they were netting a bunch of fish and got the walrus with it.
I didn't see that. Wow.
And they pull up the net, and the walrus is sitting there in the middle of it eating their fish. Just as happy as he could be, too. I mean, he was just sitting there like, hey, guys, thanks for the lift, thanks for the ride.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, gosh. If you find that video again, put it on
I'll send it to you if I find it. It's funny. But they pull up this net, and they couldn't figure out why it was so heavy, and they pull it up, and there's this gigantic walrus sitting right in the middle of their net eating everything.
Lord have mercy.
Wow. Well, they're lucky it didn't break the net. Over here, we have the problem when the captains go out to net bait fish, that the dolphin have figured out that they're putting all this fish in one place, and they charge in the net and turn around and eat the bait out of it and put big holes through the net.
Oh, they eat their way right through the net?
Well, they're so powerful, they just break the net. Because the nets are basically made out of fishing line.
Uh-huh. Oh, my goodness. I remember the days when I spent up in the Panhandle, up in Tyndall Air Base, when I was in the military at the time. They have a huge bridge, not as big as the Tampa Bridge, but they have a huge bridge bridging the land to the base. And I got this wild hair one day, decided that I was going to go under the bridge. There was no catwalk. I walked up to the middle of me and a friend of mine walked up to the middle of the bridge, went down the maintenance ladder. We're not supposed to be doing things like that, but I did. Went down the maintenance ladder, got down to we were right in the center channel. I had a couple of speckled trout for bait. I threw them over, and I think we hooked a dolphin that night because whatever it was that I hooked, he had to hold on to me. It was going to pull me in the water. We ended up having to snap the line. So I think that one of their favorite snacks is speckled trout. They're loaded. When we talk about the West Coast, it's not like here on the East Coast. Predominantly all around this area where I'm at, Palm Beach County, you got to go out quite a ways to see dolphins. On the West Coast, it's different. They come right into the bay. I've been in waist high water and thought I was a shark, and you could have seen me walk on water that day. So they come right in. It's not like on the East Coast, and it was amazing. It really was. I mean, again, we weren't supposed to be there. There's no guardrails or anything like that. It's just the center of the channel of where the bridge was at. Whatever it was, hit it and ran. As soon as it hit, it ran. And as soon as it started running, I literally was skidding along the concrete there. I had the drag set way too tight. And I think we were using 80 or 90 pounds, some huge number of tests, a big drum reel. And I got the pants scared off me that night. Yep. It was one of those
dolphins up in the river over here, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been catching some monster redfish and trout up there. I saw Jeff posted that they've been catching like close to 40-inch reds, and the last trout I saw him post was close to 30 inches.
Yeah, the dolphin get in here, and yes, they do like speckled trout. They will run them down.
Seems to be their snack. They like.
Yep.
All right, well, we're up against a break. Let me take a break, and while we're doing that, I'll see if I can get a hold of Captain Rogers and see if he's going to be able to call in and give us an update. You want to hang on with us there, Robert?
I'll stay on, see if Charlie's coming.
All right, hang on. And ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. We love you very much, but we have to do this because this is one of the requirements in order for us to keep doing what we're doing.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Grace has some pretty stellar arms, like Serena Williams good, but her face is pretty disgusting.
Someone please tell him to go back into his closet and leave us alone.
Britney's face is so stupid and I hate her so much. It's like a scientist created her in a lab to annoy humanity and didn't even do that good of a job.
Megan reminds me of a troll doll that came to life intent on killing us with her stupidity.
Why is Grace's head so big? It definitely has nothing to do with how smart she is and probably everything to do with how bloated she is.
He's so funny. Just kidding. Who would find this disfigured flamingo funny?
Never post a selfie of yourself. You look so ugly.
The only reason you have so many views is because we think you're a freak and we can't look away.
Megan is the main reason that the world sucks so much.
I would rather get cancer than listen to another Trevor Moran song.
You are a mistake. You should have never been born.
Drown yourself in a shallow puddle, please.
Wow, I hope she's sterile.
These really stopped being funny a long time ago.
You're so much more than the things that people say about you.
Those people have no right to say cruel things to you to make themselves feel better.
It's okay that you sound different than everyone else.
That's what makes you so special.
We will not tolerate it. We will not tolerate it.
We will not tolerate it.
We will not tolerate it.
Every day, people make me feel like I stand out simply because of the way that I look.
Every day, people make me feel small.
Every day, I face the cruel words of bullying.
And every day, people tell me that I'm brave for enduring this humiliation.
But we're not the brave ones.
It's the ones that say no to the bullying.
The witnesses.
If we all join together, there's nothing that we can't do.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
When we see bullying online,
We will let the world know that we're going to take action with the I.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
Our actions will overpower cruel words.
I am a witness.
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 There is power in words.
But it's nothing compared to the power of the actions that we put behind our words.
Visit eyewitnessbullying.org to learn more.
I am a witness, and so are you.
I'm gonna stand by you.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We have ignition. Strap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. Shark, fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. And now your host, Riscala Stevens.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it is the Fish Florida Show. We're here every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. You can join in the fun. You can get some information. You can listen to us a variety of ways. We do have a website. That's fishfloridashow.com. If you're a Facebooker, you can find us on Facebook. Fish Florida Show on Facebook. Click on Contact Us. You can listen to us that way. If you have limited data or you're having a problem where you're at, but you have unlimited calling, you can call in to listen, strictly to listen. You won't be able to talk to us. 701-719-9704. We try to make it as easy as possible for everybody to join in. I so much enjoy not just the people who take the time to listen to us, but those who spread the word and kind of let people know what we're doing. Every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m., a variety of guests. We typically have 4 to 5 guests on every morning, something to do with fishing, something to do with the outdoors. Again, the app is free. You can download our app. It's the Fish Florida app. You can find it at any of the major stores. It is absolutely free. I don't like those guys that tell me it's a free download. You download it and then you find out you got to pay to use it. Yeah, the download is free, but you can't use the program without paying for it. We're not like that. Everything is absolutely 100% free. So this morning I have with me my co-host, Pam Worth. She's one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida. Always a pleasure to have her on. I also have Robert Warner with Florida Fisherman Magazine. Robert, I tried to get a hold of Captain Rogers. It appears he's not going to be available.
Yeah, he had a charter this morning and wasn't sure if the people were going to be okay with him taking a break to go on the radio. So,
well,
he would find out and call in if he could. So.
Yeah, we can try him again. I'm very much sympathetic. I understand this is how you make a living, and if you don't take care of the bills will take care of you.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that works, isn't it?
So anyway, you can hang in there for us. We're going to have about a 10-minute slot here. We'll just have a little bit of an open discussion about what's going on. Anything down the road that you can tell us about that you're aware of, Robert?
Well, there's summer's coming. Obviously, we will eventually get to summer break, and the kids will be out of school. It's a great time to take a look and see what programs are available, especially smaller kids. I know that I told everybody last week the statistics from the Miami Boat Show showed that 42% of the new anglers were children between the ages of 6 and 12.
Wow, yep.
Which I think is awesome.
Yep.
And there are programs out there. They run through summer. Our city has them. I believe just about every city has them. Where you can get your kids outside, away from the electronics for a few hours. My kids, when they were little, went to sailing camp. There's a fishing camp here in Stuart. There's a lot of programs out there that'll get your kids out on the water and get them outside. The Oceanographic Institute up in Fort Pierce, if you call them, they have some programs. There are a lot of programs out there. Take advantage of them. They're inexpensive. It'll get your kids outside. it's a much better way for them to spend the day than in front of a television,
Absolutely,
or in front of their telephone, or in
Yeah.
front of a computer. So,
Yep, that's a good program. We've got Moat Marine, which helped rear all those redfish that were released.
Wow.
We also have the fishing camps where they're teaching the kids knots, basic seamanship, and then take them out for a half day into the bay and help them learn to catch redfish and snook and trout.
Wow.
So there's a lot of them out there.
I think this is about the time of year where if your kids are in school, they start telling you or giving you information about the programs that'll be available during the summer. Some of these programs fill up pretty quick, so if you want your kids involved,
you got to do it now.
The forms a little early. Don't wait until the 2nd of June to fill them out. So just take a look at the stuff they send you home every day from school. Some of it's not nonsense. So take a look and read through it. A lot of it has to do with these programs that are going to be coming up in the summer. We're going to try to do a couple of them, the tackle boxes, not X boxes.
Yeah, I like that.
We normally do those.
I like that.
We normally do those down in the Keys. You can take a look on Samantha Gay's website. She's from South Carolina. She runs that Fishers of Kids Academy.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute, Robert. What is that called?
It's called the Fishers of Kids Academy.
Fishers of Kids.
Yep.
Can we get her on?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure she would love to talk about the program. So,
what's her name?
Samantha Gay.
Okay, I'll see if I can find her. Yeah, again, this is a heartstring of mine. Fishers of Kids.
If you go on our website, you will find her entire program. Just pull up, go to the flfishmag.com website, pull up tackle boxes, not X boxes. You will find Samantha Gay and her program. And all the contact information right there.
Good. I'm going to see if I can get her on. This is a heartstring of mine. Kids are our future. If we don't bring them up in a proper way, our future is bleak. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of kids out there. If we rely on them for the future, our future is bleak. We got to get out of that cycle and get back into a cycle where we get away from all this electronics. We're literally saturated. How many of us have this little monster with us 24/7, this little thing we call a phone? All the time we have this thing with us. We kind of forget how beautiful life can be in a way when all we do is focus on this little piece of equipment that we have in the palm of our hand, and we're looking down constantly, not paying attention.
And that would be my first suggestion: is put it in your pocket, take it out of your hand.
Yep, there you go.
If you walk around with it in your hand, chances are that's your main focus in life. Put it in your pocket, put it in your purse, put it somewhere. If it rings, you'll hear it. So.
Yeah, I also want to tell people don't in your hand. So. Yeah, don't overlook the obvious, and the obvious is swim lessons. There's the Wise. There's a lot of places out there that teach, and they're very inexpensive, and some of them are even free. But teach your kids to swim. Also, please.
Yeah,
if you live in Florida, that's like the first thing you should learn: how to swim.
Amen. There's too many kids. This is something else that unfortunately we hear a lot of. In my personal experience, I think both of you know I used to be a foster parent, so we fostered about 19 children. One of the first things we taught them was how to swim. Take them over to my brother's house. He had a swimming pool, and we taught them that you don't have to be afraid of the water if you know how to deal with the water. If you don't know how to deal with the water, it's very good and very healthy to be afraid of the water, because you jump in, you can't swim, it's going to be the last time you jump in. It's very important to get your children, the earlier the better. Some of these kids that we taught how to train how to swim, they're 2 and 3 years old. We put these little things on them. I think they were called swimmies, if I remember. Little, like a bubble wrap that you stick on their arms. It keeps them from, keeps them floating, keeps them in an upright position, and gives them a little confidence in that they're, hey, man, I'm floating, So, again, that is something that is very, very close to my heart. And make sure your kids know the importance of being able to at least float in the water. I had a friend of mine, believe it or not, this just came to mind. I had a friend of mine who's newborn. This is a newborn baby. They would put him in the pool, and the baby would know to flip over on his back and float. He would float. Now, this is probably 2, 3, 4 months old. And that's how early it was with this particular child. So the earlier the better, the safer for your children. You got to let them know that water's a lot of fun. My goodness, you can't have enough fun in the water, but you also have to be safe. You got to know how to deal with it.
Yeah, it's funny
Yeah,
you
mine
mentioned
all-
those floaties. That's how I taught my kids to swim. And we would just let more air out of them all the time till they
Right.
were just
That's
swimming
exactly
around
right.
with little pieces of plastic on their arms that had no air in them at all. And they'd go,
Yeah, that's
"It's not
exactly
really
how we
helping
did
you
it.
anymore." You do realize that, right?
That is exactly how we did it, Robert. Just like that. We'd
Yeah.
fill them up full blast, and then as they became more and more confident, take a little bit less air, until it got to the point where it really wasn't doing anything. And we would take it off their arms and go, oh, big surprise, I don't need them anymore. I'm sorry, Pam, we kind of stepped on Pam. Go ahead, Pam.
I was going to say, I think my dad just threw us all in the deep end of the pool. But my kids I started them with swim lessons when they were 6 months old.
Wow.
Basically, you blow in a child's face, and he will actually stop, hold his breath if you blow in his face. And then you quickly go down and then right back up again, and you smile at the baby and go, oh my gosh, that's so much fun. And the baby goes, oh yeah, okay.
I don't know about you, Mom, but I don't like the idea of dunking me in the water
Sure,
when I'm
Mom,
ready.
that's fun. Yeah.
You get a surprised look when you do that?
Oh yeah,
Oh, sure.
and you just kind of do a few little jumping jacks, and they just think it's fun. It's like jumping around with the baby. No, obviously you don't want to do that in cold water, but they all learned to swim very, very early. We had pools, so it was one thing that it gave just a tiny bit of confidence that, God forbid, you weren't looking for 2 seconds. We all know how fast a
Yes.
2-year-old can move.
Yes.
That if something happened, at least, like you said, they could flip over and
Flip
float on
over,
their
yeah.
back, which
Yeah.
gave you a couple minutes to get out there.
I was absolutely astonished. I was going to slap my friend for putting his baby in the water. Are you crazy? He's just watch. And I'd watch, and I was astounded at this. I think he was 3 months old. Flipped over on They put him in the water face down. Flipped over on his back and floated. A little bit of crying because there's a little bit of water there, but the point being is that the child did not drown. The child was not in danger. Within seconds of hitting the water, it was trained to the point where it'd flip over on his back and just float until he got to a point where he was near the edge of the pool. A very, very important lesson for everybody. Make sure your kids know how to. Again, we're coming up on the summer. What do kids do to cool off? They get underwater, some kind of water. So we want to make sure we don't hear about any more of these kids who sneak into somebody's yard. Last year was here, not too far from my neighborhood. Snuck into somebody's yard. They were out, the family was out on vacations. They knew, whoever this was, knew that they had a pool. They snuck into the yard, went swimming, and one of them drowned. There were 2 or 3 of them swimming. One of them drowned. They didn't know what they were doing, weren't paying attention. And the result was a lost life when it could have been completely avoided with the proper training. So keep that in mind, my friends. Make sure your kids, at the earliest age possible, understand the water's a lot of fun, but it can also be very dangerous. Understand how to deal with the water, particularly in the beaches, too. This is something we don't talk a lot about. From time to time, we get rip currents here. There is a way to be able to identify that. Robert, do you know how to identify the rip currents on the beach?
No, but I do know that if you get caught in one, that you swim parallel to shore.
That's
you
right.
do not try to swim back to shore. You swim parallel to shore until you get out of it, and then you'll know it. You can feel it let go.
Yeah. I've been caught in them a couple of times, and it's a spooky feeling.
Every surfer knows. Every surfer knows what a ripped, or we used to call them undertows.
Right.
But it's just you can see where the waves stop coming in hard, and the water looks like it's kind of streaming back out
right,
again.
It's draining back out in the ocean. So if you look at the beach, you will find areas where the waves are coming in, and then areas where the waves are not quite so strong. Those are the areas that the water, you think about it, all this water comes up on shore. It doesn't stay there. It's got to go back into the ocean. And that return to the ocean is a very, very strong energy. It can. I've been caught in them a couple of times, and it is very spooky because you feel like you have no power at all. You're literally being. It's like almost like being in a liquid vacuum, sucking you out. And the first thing that happens to a lot of people is, "Oh my God, I'm getting sucked out," and they panic. And the last thing you want to do is panic. Keep your wits about you. Swim parallel to the shore. Eventually, that water, that energy will even out, and you can swim back in as long as you're not getting caught up in another one coming out. But if you're swimming parallel to the shore, you're relatively safe in avoiding them. You'll end up back on shore
if you
again.
swim parallel to shore, eventually you'll hit the place where the waves are pushing you towards
the shore. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's something we don't talk about much, and it's something that people need to be aware of. The bigger the waves, the stronger this thing is. So if you got little waves going on, it's not too much of a problem. But you got 3, 4, 5 foot waves, yeah, it's pretty powerful. And it's a spooky feeling to get caught in it and get sucked out. You got to keep your wits about you when you have something like that going on.
It's also the place you want to launch your kayak.
Yeah, I bet.
That'll get you out real quick, won't it?
Yeah, it's smaller waves, too.
Oh, Lord.
Less chance of turtling.
My goodness. Well, it is that time. Robert, thank you so much for taking time to call in and share with us. We'll see if we can get Captain Rogers back on in a week or so.
Okay, you guys have a great day. New magazine coming. Everybody needs to get their stuff in by the 20th. If you're sending something in, send it to pages@flfishmag.com. We need it by the 20th, like I said, and magazine will come out about a week after that. So you guys have a great day and get out there on the water.
Thank you, Robert. God bless you, my friend. Greatly appreciate it. Robert Warner with Florida Fisherman Magazine. Pam, any parting words before we go to the break?
Just, Robert, real quick, what's your theme for the next magazine?
The next magazine is offshore fishing because we're coming into that offshore season where the mahi will be back in huge numbers in April. So we will be looking for offshore fishing articles. So
excellent.
All right, my friends, it's that special time again. We won't be gone long, and we will be back.
Being a dad is an adventure full of special moments.
A cruise? Surprise!
Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it. Thank you, Miss Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Have you ever heard of Audible? Audible is a website with hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. They're all high quality, easy to listen to, and, best of all, if you take advantage of a special deal that we've worked out for you, you can get one for free. That's right, a free audiobook of your choice in any genre, simply by going to audibletrial.com/openeyes and signing up for the free trial. It's simple to do, and it would support the shows that we bring to you, and hey, you get a free book out of the whole thing. So why not take advantage of it today? Go to audibletrial.com/openeyes and sign up for the trial.
Ask 10 different scientists about the environment, population control, genetics, and you'll get 10 different answers. But there's one thing every scientist on the planet agrees on. Whether it happens in 100 years, or 1,000 years, or 1,000,000 years, eventually our sun will grow cold and go out. When that happens, it won't just take us. It'll take Marilyn Monroe, and Lao Tzu, and Einstein, and Morobuto, and Buddy Holly, and Aristophanes. All of this was for nothing. Unless we go to the stars.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
While other stations just talk a good game, we win it.
Hey, sounds like somebody's having a lot of fun. Oh, I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. And now your host, Riscala Stevens.
Well, good morning to you if you're just joining. It is a Fish Florida Show. We've been on since 8 o'clock this morning. You're a little late coming on, but anything that you miss, you can always hear again. We do archive the shows. They are available at fishfloridashow.com. Where you can look up any of the archives, and anything that you miss, you can always follow up on and get it back again. This morning, I've got Pam Wirtz. She's one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida. She's always so kind and gracious with her time. She takes the time to call in and share with us, bringing a unique perspective to the table. Good morning, Miss Pam.
Good morning, Riscala. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I always enjoy this show.
I have such a deep respect for you. Somebody who goes out there and catches a fish almost as big as the boat that she's in, with a big smile on her face holding this fish. I still got that picture up on Facebook, and what an impressive picture that is. And someone else that you have introduced to me is Paul Van Reenen. Paul is with unfairlures.com, and I think you were telling me you were using one of his lures just recently, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, on Friday I was out redfish and trout fishing and got some really, really nice trout on one of his rip and slashes.
Wow.
Very effective out there.
Unfairlures.com, that's where you can find him. Good morning, Paul, and welcome to the Fish Florida Show, my friend.
Good morning, my Patriot friends. Hello, Miss Pam. How you doing?
Yeah, you're a little distorted. I don't know if it's your connection or not, but you're a little bit distorted. Kind of hard to understand you.
How is that now?
Oh, much better. Much, much better.
There you go. Good morning. I said good morning, my Patriot friends. Good morning, Riscala. Hello, Miss Pam.
Good morning, Paul. So good to hear from you again.
Well, yes, ma'am. Same to you. And it's so exciting to hear that you're ripping lips.
I love your lures. They do an excellent job. And I know they're very unique. Yeah, I know they're very unique. Can you just kind of give me a little background and tell me about them?
Well, Pam, in a nutshell, when I moved to Florida in 2011, I found that there was a gap missing in the hard bait industry, and that was sonic accuracy. In other words, when you retrieve the bait through the water in total darkness or dirty water, what does it sound like on the fish's lateral line? Because that's what he's essentially using to hunt with. Almost like in Africa where we live, we have crocodiles that they'll see a gazelle on a bank 20 yards away. They'll look at it. They'll triangulate the distance with their eyes. They'll go underwater and they'll come up right on that gazelle's snout. Same way with a fish. They've got these multiple receptors on both sides of their lateral lines. And I just found, that fish hunt with those lateral lines extensively. So when I molded my baits, I molded real live critters. So essentially, when you fish an unfair lure, you're fishing a live bait, except it doesn't have a heartbeat. It has a nasty surprise. It has a nasty surprise when you bite it. There you go.
What? So you have different hard baits. What kinds do you have?
Pam, shrimp is a major bait in all the fisheries of the world. So we have the only multi-patented shrimp on the market that actually retrieves by the tail. In other words, when you pop your rod tip, the unfair lure shrimp goes steeply in an upward angle and skips across the surface like a living shrimp trying to escape. Now, as fish grow up, they know what a little shrimp is and a bigger shrimp and eventually a jumbo shrimp, So, so we have shrimp, we have mullet, an exact mold of a living mullet. And interestingly, when I go and fish the mullet run on the east coast of Florida, when I use any other regular bait that says mullet on the package, I catch jacks, ladyfish, and bluefish. If I use the Unfair Lures mullet, which is an exact mold of a living mullet, I catch tarpon, redfish, and snook, and sharks, etc. So, those fish are keen, and if they're after a real juicy burger, they don't want to see a pizza. And then, of course, we have pilchards and we have our little greenies, as you know. And we've just recently launched a new range of soft plastics that are environmentally friendly, but most importantly, they're just like a little mud minnow or cockerhole minnow. They swim beautifully. They sit with their heads down in the water, tail up swimming like they're grubbing, etc. So very exciting stuff on the way.
Paul, I almost said Robert, forgive me. Paul, I wanted to ask you, were you the one who took a live, not a live fish, but took a fish and made a mold from an actual fish? Was that you?
Yes, sir. That was me. I actually did a laser scan on the side of a mullet and shrimp and then replicated it, made a stereolithography model, did my mold making, and then figured out how to balance them correctly. It was quite a process.
Wow.
I was told it would be a 2-year process from start to when I have a lure and a package to sell. But, doing everything myself, working 36 hours at a time, I was able to be on market in 11 and a half months.
Wow. 36 hours, my gosh. I don't know if I could keep my eyes open.
Many days like that.
My goodness.
Many days.
Well, I think it was very wise, very clever to use an actual fish, to scan an actual fish and then replicate that. I think that, I don't know of anybody, I've never heard of anybody that has done anything like that. So you may be a first there.
Indeed, sir. So, many bait companies, and I don't have anything against any bait company. There's a place in the sun for everybody, even in the people on this planet, But as a fish grows up, it becomes smarter. By the time a trout reaches 20 inches or a snook reaches 20, 22, 23 inches, it starts becoming a smart fish. And I like catching big fish, So when you want to fool a big fish, first of all, you want a bait that can cast a long way, because if you don't get ahead of your kayak wake or you don't get ahead of your boat wake, you're throwing into an area where that fish, you've lost the element of surprise. That big fish is now spooky and wary and it knows something's up. But if you can get a bait that casts into the next zip code, you are fishing in an area where you have the element of surprise. And when you are reeling a live bait, essentially, except, like I said, it doesn't have a heartbeat, it just gives you a much better advantage at having a good day. Catching better fish, etc. And, and it's not always about having the biggest fish. I mean, a little 16-inch trout is a pleasure to catch.
Too bad.
Man, I sure love holding a 30-inch trout in my hand.
You said something that kind of approaching this from a scientific angle. You said the fish, vibrates in the water, creates a vibration as it's going through the water?
Okay, so the U.S. military have got Humvees. The U.S. military have these Humvees with aerials and radar on them. They can tell what ordnance is flying through the air, the speed it's going at, and where it's coming from.
Right.
So a fish, likewise, everything that moves in the water pushes off a sonic signature, almost like a torpedo would. Submarines can listen for what kind of torpedoes are going. So essentially, half of a year a fish can't see because it's dark. Neither can you.
That's true. Yeah.
And then here in Louisiana, where we are at the Louisiana Sportsman Show right now, the water is so turbid most of the time, dirty, stained, etc., that if fish had to hunt by sight, it would be thin like a credit card. So at the end of the day, fish are triangulating their food like an upside-down GPS. We use multiple satellites coming to a GPS. A fish uses multiple receptors in stereo, left side of the body, right side of the body, up towards where its prey is. And it identifies exactly, it knows exactly what's moving through the water column.
Wow.
So that is why sonic signature is critical for success.
That's amazing. I never, again, one of the reasons I love doing this show is I'm always learning. This is something that I'm learning that you're sharing with me now. I was kind of ignorant. Fish have eyes, of course they can see. And I kind of figured that, well, when the water is dark, just like a cat can see in the dark kind of thing, I figured their eyes would adjust to the water and they could see in the water. But you're bringing out a very valid and very, very crucial point, and that is they don't use just their sight, that they use other senses. And if you can match those, then your opportunity to catch goes way up.
That's true, sir. Now, if you, it's just something that I've gleaned over the years. I've caught 600 different species of fish so far.
Wow.
But when you shine a flashlight or you take a photo of a fish at night that you've caught, if those eyes glow like an orange color or like a bright white color, it's got different rods and pixels in the eyes. It's essentially a nocturnal predator. So they don't really see too well at night, because if there's no light, there cannot be any refraction of color, etc.
Wow.
So I often get asked, what is the best color to use? And I tell the guys, if it was completely transparent and clear, that's the one I would use. But we have 50 colors because fish don't have credit cards. That's just the truth. So, is that right, Miss Pam?
Go ahead, Pam. I know you got a question.
Oh, I was going to ask you, there's something else really unique about your jig heads and your hooks. You have a unique design to them that I've never seen on any other lure. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, ma'am. So, I'm always tinkering and looking at, my lures and looking at hooks, etc., as if there is definitely still a better mousetrap. It's not a given for me. I'm not home as far as hooks goes, etc. So basically what we do is we put a triangular incisory point on our hooks, almost like a bow arrow. So a round point is like a pin. I remember my mother trying to take thorns out of my feet and my hands with a pin, man. I tell you what, it was like being tortured. But if you use a hypodermic needle, it actually just has an incisory effect. It just cuts your skin open and you can take the thorn out easily. So our hooks are directionally correct. If you pull on the eye of the hook, our jigs have 100% straight point penetration, almost like you're shooting the fish with a bow arrow. Secondly, we use an outside barb. And here's the important part, oftentimes before I'd actually started using the outside barb and actually developing that hook, I caught a number of really good trophy fish. When I landed them, they had swallowed my baits because it's a live bait. It's not reaction striking to an unfair lure, it's predation striking. If you look at like 80% of the pictures on social media, you'll see the lure is all the way in the throat. And the inside barb hooks were slicing off the little gill filaments. These fish were purging out. I'll never forget the day I released a 50-pound redfish in the Sebastian Inlet. It was stone dead when I landed it. It bled out. And I said to myself, there is a better mousetrap. So I put the barb on the outside of the hook, 60% quicker hook set as we tested them. But importantly, if you hook yourself and accidents happen, the unfair lure outside barb hook, you can pull the hook away from the barb. In other words, release pressure on the barb and back the hook out smartly, and you can carry on fishing. And then the jig heads, as you know, Miss Pam, you fish them. If you get into a situation where there's a lot of floating grass, etc., you can use little hair elastics. You put it over the back of your bait, you snag it on the eye of the hook, and you put it on the outside barb, and you have a weedless jig, which is a breath of fresh air.
I use it a lot. Matter of fact, my last IFA, that's what I caught all my redfish on, was your jig head.
Man, that's exciting. That's exciting to hear.
So it is one of my tournament jig heads that I use for sure.
Wonderful. That's awesome.
So yeah, very unique. The thing is, you just have to remember to keep tension on that, which you should anyway. You should anyway. You got to keep certain tension bringing the fish in.
That's right. I get asked a question quite often about my hooks. Are they stainless steel? So we say no, we cannot make a treble hook in stainless that's got a good tensile strength. So, some folks say, but how do I stop corrosion on my hooks? Well, here's one way to stop corrosion. If you finished fishing and you rinse your fishing rod off, most folks will hook the hook, one of the prongs, into the frame of the guide or the little hook keeper at the bottom of the rod. But here's the problem that a lot of people don't realize. a graphite or a carbon fiber rod stores an electrical charge. And since the guide frame or the hook keeper is bound onto and against that blade, what actually happens is charge goes through that metal and it turns your hook into a sacrificial anode. That rod actually makes your hooks corrode.
Wow.
So either store the hooks off the rod or take a little rubber O-ring that you can get at Advanced Auto Parts or, Rural King or wherever, and put a little O-ring at the bottom of your rod and just hook your hook through the rubber O-ring against the cork or the foam handle, and that way you won't get sacrificial anode effect.
Wow.
You won't get that cathodic reaction. So
I tell you,
cool tip.
I love doing this show because I'm constantly learning, and what you said makes absolute sense. It's graphene. Graphene is known.
People often ask me, sorry to scholar, but people often ask me, man, do you smoke your vegetables? I say, no, sir. No, sir.
Graphene is known in the electrical industry for its properties, and the hooks are a different kind of metal. When you get differential metals together, air can act as an air is an oxidizer, can act as I can't think of the right word.
As a catalyst.
Between the two, and you literally have an electrical charge. You might have something very minimal. It's not like you're going to feel it. It could be, a couple of thousandths of a volt for that matter. The point is that it's there and it's happening continuously. Absolutely, that's what's happening. Wow. Go ahead, Pam. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, plus, I've had people that want stainless steel, and basically, I don't think anybody really makes them anymore because you need to have a hook that will eventually rust. I mean, everyone that I know that's fished has been cut off and lost the fish.
Yeah,
well, that hook is in the fish's mouth.
Yeah, good point.
And I was going to say, you do want it sooner or later to rust out so that fish survives.
Yes, that's true, man. But the truth is, I often hear people say, oh, it'll just 3 or 4 days and the hook is rusted out. So I did a test once. I took a jug of salt water and I put 2 or 3 hooks into the salt water. I suspended some on monofilament, some I just dropped into the bottom. And 2 years later, they were still hooks.
Wow.
I caught a redfish a while back. And when I landed it, I noticed that there was 2 about 8-inch pieces of mono coming out of its anus. So I kind of tugged, and lo and behold, out came a black nickel live bait hook. It looked almost like a Mustad Big Gun or something like that, but it was completely calcified over. So that hook had gone all the way through the gut, had gotten stuck in the rear end, in the rudder, as I call it, and it had just never corroded away. So stainless hooks, you can make stainless in like 302 or something like that, but you would be paying $10 for the hooks and $6 for the plug. So, it's just not, end of the day, viable, really.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, again, always a pleasure to have you on. And every time I have somebody on, that just kind of intrigues me. The time seems to fly by. Again, I've learned from you what you said about with regard to the hooks and being hooked onto either the framework or the eyelet, how that electrical charge, and that's something I never even ever considered, never even thought in my mind. A great point, and I can tell you from my background, because I work with electronics, have worked with electronics for over 23 years now, directly as a business. What you say is valid, is electrically valid. What you say is absolutely correct. Amazing. It's just, to me, it amazes me
Before I let you go, let me tell you something that the Mustads and the Eagle Claws and the VMCs have never thought about.
Mm-hmm.
We are now busy working on it, because we manufacture our own hooks. We're working on a process of electromagnetizing our hooks when we manufacture them. In other words, my hook is going to be a strong magnet. Now, most of the oil industry, they actually impart an electrical charge in all their pipelines. So what it does is it polarizes the metal ions, and then they don't oxidize. It reduces the rust. Basically, it'll stain, but it doesn't actually rust. When they run a charge, or you've never seen a rusted magnet ever.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's something that we're working on. It'll be a first and a new for hooks in the fishing industry.
Wow.
Wow, when do you think you'd have that out?
We're working on it, man. 2-3 months for the next batch of hooks that we bring out, we'll have something that we'll be we'll grab the dog by the tail and wag it around a
My
little
goodness, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I've learned quite a bit from you this morning. You're absolutely correct. I've never seen a magnet that is corroded. I've never thought about that. You know, this is the enjoyment that I have by having a different variety of people on and sharing with me. I've learned so many things. The other thing that comes to mind real quick is I learned that there are ways if you're going to release a fish, there are certain ways you should hold that fish. Otherwise, there's no point in releasing it. You've done so much damage to the fish that it's probably not going to survive when you put it back in the water. I never thought about things like that. And that's one of the joys I have about doing this show. The other joy is the memories of growing up. Fishing was central to our family. My mom loved fishing. You could never take her out enough and go fishing. My dad loved fishing. So as the kids grew up, we loved it. We enjoyed it. We all enjoyed the same experience at the same time together. And I believe what it did is it helped increase the bonds of the family. And to me, that's extremely important nowadays because the family, in my opinion, is under direct attack, and we should do whatever we can.
100%.
And that's why one of the reasons I do it.
Yes, sir. Excuse me interrupting you, man. I'm just so enthusiastic. I love America so much. We immigrants and we become citizens next year, but we love this country and we're so concerned for things that are happening. But I often tell people at the show, sir, take that device away from your child. Take his shoes off, give him a fishing pole, and let him stand barefoot next to the water and learn about what's happening around him. Let him figure out life in 3 dimensions, not in a monodimension on a flat screen. You know?
Excellent point. Yeah.
So, but I got to say, it's such a pleasure being on the show with you and Miss Pam. And it's like this has made my day.
You certainly helped make
exciting day.
Certainly helped make mine, and I've learned quite a bit from you this morning, Paul. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Paul Van Reenen, he's with unfairlures.com. Right now, he's out in Louisiana. But you can find him at unfairlures.com. Paul, a parting word before we let you go, my friend.
Pray for our country. Pray for our president. Love our citizens. Be concerned. And God is good all the time, man. All the time.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you. Wish you well.
Yes, and same to you. And thank you, Miss Pam.
My pleasure, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
So long. That's Paul Van Reenen. He's with unfairlures.com. You can find him online, unfairlures.com. We're going to skip the break because we kind of went a little over with Paul, but I enjoyed having him on. You know, Pam, were you aware of what he was saying about the hook?
Oh, absolutely. That's why I brought it up.
Oh, you're such a smarty pants. Oh, my goodness.
No. I live and breathe this, and I have been on a boat. I've fished with Paul before, and he is quite the instructor.
Wow.
Quite the instructor.
Wow.
And he's very passionate about his, as you could tell.
Yeah.
He's extremely passionate about his lures and this country.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a naturalized citizen.
So am I, my friend. I'm in the same boat. Yep, I'm in the same boat. Yep. I'm a naturalized citizen, and I came from a country where a dictator was in power, and it wasn't very nice. And what's happening today in this country scares me. I've served for this country, and what I served for is certainly not what's supposed to be happening today. Anyway, that's another 5 shows in a row. And I want to bring on my next guest, who is Jeff Goldberg. He's with fish307.com. I think he's up in New York. I don't know. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Phil. How are you?
I am doing well, my friend. Go ahead, Pam.
I was just going to say hi. How are you? What's the weather like up there, buddy?
Well, interestingly enough, it's cold up north, but I'm in Virginia Beach.
and how cold?
Oh,
Go ahead.
What are you doing in Virginia?
My lady is a marathon runner, and she's running the Shamrock Classic here today, and I'm walking on the boardwalk waiting for her to finish.
Wow,
so,
that's impressive.
Yeah, pretty neat. Didn't expect to be here when we made the arrangements, but this is where I'm at. So
wow.
As far as the fishing and everything, let's talk about fishing. We're getting toward the end of ice fishing, which is a good and bad thing. We had a fantastic season, some of the best conditions in many, many years, which was great. And we'll have ice on Lake George until mid-April, but the ice fishing is going to end probably in about 10 days or so. And we're getting ready for spring.
Ah, that's nice. Okay, that brings up an interesting topic. And this is, people in Florida go, well, why am I interested in ice fishing? Because it's a transition. And we have a lot of, we call them like winter birds that come down from the winter. If you're transitioning from one type to another, and let's say you're changing gear from, one of your rod types to another and one of your reel types, what can you do? Let's say you're going to be putting away your winter fishing tackle. What do you do to maintain it so it's in great condition come next fall?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. I'm glad you asked. The biggest thing is with all fishing tackle is to make sure you dry your stuff out. You want to rinse it clean, especially in saltwater, but up north, we have very clean water. So you want to rinse everything off and then make sure it's really dry before you go and store it. Because if it's not dry, it mildews and gets kind of, yucky. And then the other thing is you want to keep it in a dark place because light deteriorates monofilament and what have you. And so you want to store it in cool, dry as you can. And then the other thing is with that many people make mistake, is that they store their rods loaded. In other words, they have a hook down on the hook keeper and they kind of have the top bent over a little bit. You don't ever want to do that. You want to always store your rods up straight. And that's true of any type of rod. And reel your line in, take your hooks off. Don't leave your hooks on your line and put them where they belong, put them in a nice box, store them clean. And that's pretty much it. It's about keeping stuff dry, clean, and dark.
So basically also let off the drag, open up the drag so you're not putting it away compressed down?
Right. What I recommend is to just take your hooks off and, let your drags off because drags tend to compress and stick if you don't let them off. And, so it's the same way you'd store any rod and reel. It's just, this stuff with the ice fishing stuff is very small, so it compounds the issues because everything's so small. If you leave your drags on, they stay really compressed, not just a little compressed, and they're harder to get apart. So, you got it. It's pretty much the program.
Okay. I'm going to just kind of go on that. Your drag is kind of like a piece of felt, or it's kind of like, let's say, a sponge. So if you have a wet sponge and you put something heavy on it and you let it dry, it's going to stay compact like that. So that's kind of, for somebody who doesn't really understand all the workings of a reel, that's kind of what your drag does. Although some of the guys coming out now are eliminating some of that drag and they're using more like magnets. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, well, there's magnets. They've been using magnets on bait casting reels for a long time. But on spinning reels, or some of the newest spinning reels are starting to use magnets, and they're also the ball bearing count starting to reduce on a lot of them because they have such good bushings now that that you're going to see even on more expensive reels like the 13 fishing. They have no bearings, but yet they're still $200 reels because they're so smooth and they'll stay smooth. So,
Right.
Reel technology is changing fairly quickly.
Wow.
And drag technology is changing fairly quickly. You're right about the drags. The other thing that happens to drags is that because many drags have there's a Teflon, and then there's I forget what kind of material it is in between that they'll stick together. So the reason you leave them loose is so not only do they compress them like a sponge, but they keep them sticking together.
Huh.
So,
yeah.
Technology is changing quickly in everything. That's the amazing thing about our world today. Whatever you buy is obsolete the day you bought it because in a few months there'll be something new.
I will attest to that.
They come out with a lot lighter. I do just artificial, so I'm making a ton of casts every day, and they've come out with lighter reels too that make it really nice for doing multiple casts.
Yep. Yes. Everything. It's just amazing what's happening today. Same with rods. If you take a reel that is 10 years old that cost you $300, that's a $50 reel today.
My goodness.
And the $300 or $400 reel is 2 or 3 times better than that reel was. Pretty amazing.
I agree with you. Okay, we're transferring over to spring. You're pulling your deer out. You're looking at it. What are some of the things that you like to do? I mean, do you oil? Do you grease? Do you reline? What do you like to do when you're bringing that out?
First thing I do is with my mono or fluorocarbon. Very first thing I do is check to see the brake strength, and if it feels like it's a little bit off, I just reline everything, which is what I normally do anyway. So that's the first thing. What's that?
It's fairly inexpensive.
Yeah, right. You think about it this way: you have a $50,000 boat, you have thousands of dollars worth of rods and reels, and at the end of the line, for your line and your hook, which is the least expensive part of the whole thing, people are cheap about. It makes no sense at all, right? So you want to put on. I always make sure that my hooks are good and sharp. I like quality hooks, and I make sure that my line is in good shape, and that's how I start my every season. And the other thing that I do is we use a lot of scents up north, and I make sure that my scents aren't fouled and they're in good shape. And then I get my tackle, I lay it all out, and I read a bunch of books and magazines, see what's new, and buy a couple of new things. But I've come to the conclusion that fish don't get smarter, because every generation of fish isn't any smarter than the one before. So what I used 10 years ago still catches fish today. But I still always buy new stuff just to have it, and then I like to use it, try it, see what the newest stuff out there is. But main thing is my hooks and line. Make sure I got good hooks and that my line is good, because that's what catches the fish at the end of the day.
So Jeff,
that's good advice. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. You getting ready to pull out the electrics now?
The electric what?
The electric motors, the trolling motors. Is it going to be time to start pulling them?
Motors. Oh yeah. Well, in our Jacksonville facility, we're taking in three to 5 motors every single day, because people wait till the last minute right before their tournaments and what have you. So my recommendation is, if you're is to get your stuff fixed before you want to go fishing. Don't bring it into the shop right the day or 2 days before, because they've got everybody else that did that. So, you get a little bit behind. You can't keep up with it. Up north, really the big thing for us right now is downriggers. We're getting in probably 10 every day.
Wow.
People getting their downriggers fixed and updated and put together and all of that. So it's that's the big deal. But yeah, it's a little bit early for the trolling motors just yet, because we have, we're still 15, 18 inches of ice. So
what are they? I'm curious. You got me curious now. What are they doing to the downriggers?
Well, the downriggers is mostly, well, not mostly, but a good deal of our downrigger business comes from the Great Lakes. Great Lakes, they get their ice goes out much faster than it does in my local shop, and so they ship. And downriggers are easy to ship, so people ship us riggers. We get riggers from all over the world. We're the largest repair center in the country, or actually in the world, for downriggers. So
wow,
we get riggers in from all over the world, and this is the time of year that's the busiest right now.
So is it a process of like you maintenance kind of thing that you do to them? Or repair
break things, I mean, it's both. It's mostly repair, but there is maintenance involved as well. The repair, people hit docks and break mounts and things like that.
That makes sense.
But there is a quite a bit of maintenance where, if you have, say, a 5 to 7 year old downrigger, it's a good idea to put new cable on it. Down south, you guys use more braid than cable, because people don't like the hum, and you have to check your braid just like you do on your fishing rod. If it's got a nick in it or whatever, you got a weak spot, and that's how that works. So you want to take that off and put new stuff on, and it's a good idea to check. Just like your rods and reels, you need to check your equipment, because it breaks, and if it breaks, then you lose expensive stuff. Downrigger weight nowadays is $30, $40 just for the weight, and if you dropped it off because you had a nicked cable or a nicked braid, it winds up being an expensive day for no good reason. You know,
Yeah.
if you
Good
broke
point.
one off because you grabbed a hold of the bottom and there's a 50-pound king on the end of your line, well, that's something else. But if you did it just because you didn't maintain your equipment, that's a shame. You know.
Good point. Good point. All right, Miss Pam, any parting words for our friend?
Yeah, the basic one. How do we get back in touch with you? If somebody wants to send you some equipment, how do they reach you?
Okay, so you can always get us at fish307.com, and we're always available. Or you can call during business hours, 1-800-FISH-307, which is 3474307 on a telephone. And we're available. You know, we have a full-time tech who's available to answer the phone from 9 to 3 every single day, Monday through Friday. And then and we answer the phone for parts, questions, or what have you. We're open 6 to 6 every day, except for Sunday, 6 to 3. So that's how you contact us. There's 11 or 12 different people that might answer the phone, but if you ask for service, you'll get Mike. He's the main service guy down there, or myself, or Luke. We have a whole staff, so we're good to go.
Well, thank you,
All right.
Jeff. Appreciate it, my friend. I wish you a wonderful day up there.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to talk to you as always. And you guys have a great day. Thank you. All right.
So long.
Gotta go. My lady's coming down to shoot right now.
so do we.
Good timing.
All right. Yep. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
What's up, Ricky Dillon here at the largest social media gathering in the world. So the internet is an amazing place, but sometimes it can be a not so great place with online bullying and trolling and stuff. Have you ever seen online bullying before?
Unfortunately, it's kind of common. Online, people can hide behind the internet. Those comment sections can be a little
harsh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
a good word for it.
I've been called many homophobic names.
I felt embarrassed. I felt humiliated. It made me stop liking myself.
What if I told you there is something that you can use anytime that you see bullying online that calls attention to it in a nice way? Like, hey, that's not nice.
I wish that was the thing.
It's this! So anytime that you see any kind of hate online, go into your phone, go into the symbol section, post this I, and it says that that's bullying, that's not nice. So would you post this if you saw someone bullying someone?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like a lot more mature way to handle situations.
Find the emoji in your phone, send it to 5 of your friends, and let them know what it means to be a witness.
Go to eyewitnessbullying.org to learn more about the emoji.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick of Bowen Realty. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped, even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion: air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick of Bowen Realty. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478. Diane Whittick at Bowen Realty, located in Wellington at Wellington Trace East and Forest Hill Boulevard. 561-247-5478.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road. You will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclub.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Club. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
I grabbed my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. So fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. And now your host, Riscala Stevens.
Well, a good morning to you. We are a little bit into about 1.5 hours of the show. And, man, I have learned a lot this morning. I'm still thinking about what Paul was saying, Paul with Unfair Lures, regarding the hooks. And I always wondered why my hook would I'd wash it off. I don't think I went through the process of physically drying it, but I would wash them off and then, come back to find that the hook is corroded and just couldn't figure that out. Doggone it. And it figured out this morning because with my background in electronics, it absolutely makes sense. Wow. Anyway, with us this morning, I have with me Pam Worth. Pam is one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida. She's always so gracious with her time, and she shares with us a unique perspective. Good morning, Miss Pam.
Good morning, Michelle. How are you doing?
I am learning. I love it. I'm learning.
You've had some really great guests on this morning. It's been a very, very interesting day.
We couldn't get Captain Rogers on. I tried to call him during the break, and I guess Robert had alluded that he may have had a charter this morning, and so I imagine that's what was going on. So I contacted Betty Bowman, Betty with Ladies Let's Go Fishing, another person I admire so much, and asked her to call in, and unfortunately she called in a little too late, but I asked her to call back, and she was gracious enough to do that. Good morning, Miss Betty.
Good morning. Happy to be on the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, you something that I admire about you is you take your time to share with others, particularly women, because that's the whole thing about this is Ladies Let's Go Fishing, but children as well. And to me, that helps bring the family back together, and that's something that is one of my heartstrings, and I appreciate people like you and Pam as well. I want to point out Pam has taken youngsters out. I think an 11 or 12-year-old, if I recall correctly, took him out on a kayak, if I'm not mistaken, and worked with him.
Yep, I have a junior angler for the IFA, and he won his division last year, so that was very exciting. And you were gracious enough to interview him. He was, oh my gosh.
Great kid.
He was so excited about that. They taped it, and they replay it all the time.
Wow. So what is the latest and the greatest, Miss Betty? What's going on?
Well, we're packing up for our Gulf Coast event next weekend, and I've been busy working on the first auction online for the year because, as you know, we are a nonprofit, and it's those auction bids that put the gas in the car here. So we have a lot of great fishing trips, charter trips, and I really recommend for new people to book a charter and learn from the guides. You can learn so much from the people that are out there fishing all the time.
Well, we're going to have someone who does that. I know personally because she's told me many times, and that's Angelia. She'll be coming on here shortly. And she's a guide. She's down in the Keys. And when she takes people out, not only does she just help them catch the fish, let me rephrase that, help them catch the fish or guide them to the fish, but she also educates them, much like you do, Miss Betty, and like Pam. Education, to me, is something that is of the most vital of importance. There's an old saying, and it may be corny, but it's very true. you can you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, now you've done something that stays with them for a lifetime. And I use the word man because that's the most common. Another one of my heartstrings is to bring the women in, because I remember how powerful that was in my life. And my mom was somebody who loved fishing. And I remember how powerful that was in helping us as a family enjoy something. And it's something that we don't do a lot of, generally speaking. And it's something we don't do a lot of anymore. We go out to dinner, and the first thing we do is grab that little nasty thing and put it in our hands and start. So we go out and do something like this. You have to kind of put that stuff away, because you're out on the water. It would be foolish for you to have something like that, specifically if we're on the East Coast or the West Coast. We're talking about salt water. You'll corrode that thing. Not only that, but God forbid it falls into the water. Goodbye. So it's in your best interest to put it away and pay attention to what's going on. And people like Miss Betty, who brings on Ladies Let's Go Fishing, she works with ladies in literally teaching them from the ground up without pressure or anything like that. So that's one of the things I so much admire about you, Miss Betty. Are you when is the next closest session that you're going to have?
Well, I have the one on the Gulf Coast is this weekend. It's pretty much full. And what's good is this is in Fort Myers. It's March 23rd is the class, and then fishing is the 24th. Red Tide is gone. The fish are coming back. So we're excited to have that one. And then after that, we have the offshore seminar here in South Florida. It's Saturday's class is April 27th. Fishing is the next day. In between, we have a cooking class, and we still have spots for that. April 11th to cook fish at different stations.
Where's
and then
that?
we get to eat our dinner.
Where?
That is in Fort Lauderdale by the sea.
So they go fishing, and then they get they learn how to cook it.
Yeah, it's not
Cool.
the same weekend, but it's a cooking school, and should be quite a lot of fun. Actually, I could use some tips, because every time I try to make risotto, it turns out like soup.
Less water.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, do you want me to go through what else we have?
Yeah, but I want to ask you quickly, on the cooking thing, are you providing the fish or they're catching the fish? I'm not clear about that.
Oh, no, we are providing the fish, so that way we have guaranteed fish to cook.
I see, okay. All right.
It's actually a Lenore Ryan cooking school. They are providing multiple instructors, and the fish will cook a 4-course dinner, and then we'll sit down and eat that dinner. So
Cool. Okay, so go ahead. I didn't want to stop you from the other announcements, but I wasn't clear about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I still have a question on that. Can people still book, or are you full on that class?
For the cooking class?
Yes, ma'am.
No, we still have openings. It's $65, and that includes the ingredients, the instructors, and they have different stations, like on Chef Ramsay's shows, but no yelling. Only laughing.
I thought that was part of the fun, was the yelling.
Well, I guess if I burnt my risotto, maybe I might yell a bit. I wouldn't yell very loud.
Oh, my. Oh, so if somebody wants to, let's say that I know a young lady that doesn't know anything about fishing. What's the first step?
Well, the first step, besides taking our seminars, we have a nice full schedule, is to, build a network. I mean, most ladies are not going to go to a tackle shop, but first step is to try to get yourself familiar with the equipment any way you can. There's our free seminars, but even then, you probably aren't going to really be touching any equipment. Mm-hmm. Once you learn the equipment, then you need to learn the strategy, when to fish, where to fish, what to bring, how to use it, and how to retrieve it. There isn't really an easy way to learn fishing. I mean, there are some helpful tips online and YouTube, but if you can, even charter a guide, go face to face and be a sponge, learn what they do. I get criticized sometimes because they think, oh, Ladies Let's Go Fishing is just ladies who do charters. That's the start of learning, and that gets the apprehension away, where you learn to fish and you do fishing and you feel a little bit more confident in building skills, so you can use those to go out on your own.
And I know a lot of people are sometimes nervous about asking charter captains questions, but I know everybody that works with you, Betty, is a really giving, generous soul. And most charter captains really like it when you ask questions. They like to teach. That's part of what they do. So I really encourage anybody that goes out to just keep asking questions. Don't be afraid. Don't be embarrassed. Ask questions. I mean, I do. Every time I go out with somebody, I ask them questions about what they're doing and how they're doing it.
And that's why we have so many guide trips on the auction, and these ladies will get deals. Anybody can e-bid on them. They're up until like Tuesday, and then we'll bring the rest of the items to the class. But there's nothing better than actually, doing an on-water experience. It may seem expensive, but if you have your own boat, it's about the cost of your, when you add up everything and all your costs, your time packing, unpacking, look at the lures they're using. Ask questions, but not when you're on in the heat of the moment. Wait till they have some downtime. Because, these guys are scanning, evaluating. They're looking for birds, signs, making strategy. Even though they might not be doing anything, their mind is working.
Yeah. Strategy.
At times.
Strategy. You have that fishing strategy.
That's right. So we went out actually with a bunch of girls that hadn't fished before last weekend on one of the auction trips. Lady guide, lady driver, and one of the girls released a sailfish.
Wow.
Our very first sailfish.
Cool.
It was really rough out there. Today it's flat as glass. And, we lost a pretty big kingfish. We lost a few fish.
Well, we had Robert on earlier, and Robert was saying how the kingfish are every. Was it the kingfish or the cobia? I don't know. I'm confusing myself.
Both.
It was both.
The cobia around. We were fishing with mono because the sailfish and the tuna won't hit on a line with wire. So, if you have mono or fluorocarbon, it's kind of hard to keep on a big kingfish unless you have that copper wire.
Yeah, they tear it up.
Yeah, they have sharp gills.
Tear it up. And you have to have the right kind of equipment. I learned that a long time ago. I literally watched a reel smoke on me because I told a young kid that was on the boat with me, don't go after that. We're not equipped for that. Go, come over here and fish for these dolphins. And he decided to go after that anyway. You got to be prepared.
I saw Lady Pamela recently, within the week, they caught a 72-pound mahi off the southern side of Fort Lauderdale. 72 pounds.
Oh my goodness!
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, in this time of year, there's not really, mahi are more like a summertime fish.
Yeah.
I mean, they're around all the time, but I thought that was pretty incredible.
That is. That's is that close to a record?
I think the record was 81 inches, according to the email from Dave Ide. I caught like a 60-pounder, which was, I couldn't even hold the thing up hardly for a photo. So that's close.
That's a lot of dinner.
That's a lot of bragging.
Yeah, I don't know how I would get that in my kayak. That would be tough.
You'd have a separate kayak just to put the fish on.
There you go. Like the motorcycles have a sidecar, you could have a side kayak.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Instead of being a side kick, it's a side kayak.
Yeah, you can't drag him back because, he'll be shark meat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Have you ever has that ever happened to you, Pam, where you've gotten something so big that you want it and you want to keep it and you've had to drag it back? Have you ever done that?
Almost on a kingfish, but I finally did get it in the kayak.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I don't know that I'd want to be in a kayak pulling something. That would turn the whole kayak into a lure, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I tell people not. Even in the bay when they're catching trout and stuff, I tell them don't put them on a stringer next to your boat.
Yeah, I don't like that idea.
Made out of like rope or a plastic stringer. I said because if you use the chain metal ones and there's bull sharks out there. You have a shark that hits, that could rip the side of your kayak. You want to be able to cut that line and let it go.
Yeah.
Well, worst case, it could topple you. We've had bull sharks in Chokoloskee, big ones, chase us if we're waiting, chase us the whole way towards the beach and come out of the water at us.
No way.
Up on the beach. Yes.
Wow.
I would never put any fish on
Lord,
any kind of stringer.
where was that at?
Jokolowski, near Everglades City.
And they're coming out. They're coming out of the water.
Yeah, and I'm talking like maybe 3 foot or 4 foot long bull sharks.
I heard that they can be very nasty.
Yeah.
Wow, but I've heard that it can be very. I had no idea the coming out of the water thing though, like that.
Yeah, bull sharks, tiger sharks. They're not to be messed with. And on a kayak, if you get toppled and one's swimming around,
Yeah, that's not a
then
good
you're
thing.
on the stringer.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, Betty, thank you for taking the time to call in. It's that man. You know, again, I keep learning. I love it. I'm learning again. But the time flies when this happens. When I get somebody who is so full of information and keeps my attention going. The next thing I know, it's hey, my gosh, it's only been a couple of seconds, and we're off to the next break. So anyway, before we do that, I want to give you an opportunity. Any parting words that you want to let the listeners know about?
Yeah, just check my website, ladiesletsgofishing.com, because we have the surf fishing coming up May 11th, Mother's Day weekend. We'll have to talk about that another time.
Oh, yeah.
And Treasure Key, we've got a couple places to, got a couple events in the Keys, so it's all on the website.
LadiesLet'sGoFishing.com.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Miss Betty. Parting words there, Miss Pam.
No, I just wanted to thank her and appreciate everything that she does for lady anglers in the fishing industry.
And I thank you too, my friend.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
From the author of Silent Steps and Haunted, Finding an Explanation for the Unknown, comes a story so chilling it will haunt you for years to come. Krista is a young woman escaping her past, running away from her family, her traumas, and her God, hoping to find a new life in a different town. But when she is forced to make a horrible choice, she comes to realize malevolent entities have controlled the true darkness she has been a part of. That is when her real terror begins. Penitence is disturbing and evocative. It will tear down the walls between what is real and what is nightmare. Penitence is the new novel by the man called the new master of speculative fiction, Ira Robinson. Find it and all of his books at his website, originalworlds.com.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high-quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Want to give your pet the celebrity treatment? Have you heard of Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care in Royal Palm Beach? They're located just off State Road 7 and have been servicing the area for 14 years. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care is the home of the Blueberry Facial, also specializing in tartar removal with 8 years of assisting in dental procedures. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care? They're more than just about dogs. They are the only experienced cat groomer in the area. They also cater to all breeds and sizes and open 6 days a week. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care, located just north of the Super Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. You can find them at 250 Business Parkway. They specialize in shampoos with no extra charge. Flea and tick dips also available. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. You can give them a call at 561-793-9992. They also provide gift certificates for those looking for that special present. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. 561-793-9992. They're located in Royal Palm Beach. That number, 561-793-9992. Call for your appointment today. 561-793-9992. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care, where your pet gets celebrity treatment.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
Dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I grabbed my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. So fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. And now your host, Riscala Stevens.
Well, a very big thank you to all of you who take the time to tune in and let us share with you what we do on Sunday mornings, something that I genuinely love with a passion. It is because it has been such a positive thing in my life for our family that I want to be able to try to share that with others. It is something that kind of takes us back in time, if you will. Being out there on the water fishing, even offshore fishing, kind of sort of in a way, it's like a lottery. You never know what you're going to catch. You could catch, a barracuda, or you could catch, depending upon where you're at, you could catch a snapper, you could catch a grouper. There are those people who know and are skilled how to do things like that if you want to go after a specific fish. But, I mean, just to go fishing, put a piece of bait or a lure on the end of your line and throw it out and enjoy the comfort, and hopefully you would, the comfort of being away from all of the technology that we are so saturated with all the time, and enjoying what God has given us, our environment. One of the other things that I am very passionate about is our environment, and hopefully I think we're making some positive changes, which is very good for me, because it's been sad to see what's happened in the past year in Florida. And Miss Betty Bowman, who was just on with me just a few minutes ago, if you missed her, she's with Ladies Let's Go Fishing. She said something very interesting, Pam. She said that the red tide is gone.
Oh yeah, red tide's been gone for quite some time now.
Oh.
Meaning, they would not have CCA would not have released the baby redfish if there was still any red tide in the area.
Yeah. Well, I thought I don't know. Again, kind of naive of me, but I thought there were traces. They're still going on in certain places, but it's great to hear. That's excellent to hear that it's gone. I don't think they have that issue down in the Keys. My next guest is Angelia. She's down in the Keys somewhere down there. I think in near Isla Morada. Good morning, Miss Angelia.
Good morning. I was so bad wanting to chime in about the red tide.
Oh yes, yes.
We didn't see any red tide down here in the Keys at all, and I know that the East Coast got hit very, very hard. And I also have a little beach place on Anna Maria Island, and they got hit so bad. It actually went away, and came back.
Oh.
The storm systems will come through and carry that red tide offshore, and we love that. But we had one of those carried it offshore. Then we had another storm system came through and brought it right back into shore.
How sad.
But the Keys didn't get affected at all. I mean, we never saw the slightest even tinge of red tide.
Wow.
But for anybody, you guys know what that is, right? It's a natural algae bloom. It's nothing that we've done to the environment. It's not like the green sludge that's coming out of the Okeechobee Waterway. I mean, it's a totally different thing.
But
the algae,
that stuff
the
that's
red
coming,
tide
the
is
stuff
a
that's
natural algae bloom and takes the water out of the. Takes the oxygen out of the
Right.
water, so the fish actually suffocate.
Yeah.
and it's nothing that we can do anything about. It's a naturally occurring thing every year, just like the flowers that bloom, So some years are worse than others, and we pray that it doesn't get that bad again.
Well, in my experience and the research that I've done on it, it's what you're saying is accurate. I'm not doubting what you're saying at all. I agree 100%. But it's also like you presented with the flowers blooming kind of thing. You can give those flowers fertilizer, and that's what's happening. We're giving that stuff
You're
fertilizer.
exactly right.
We got to stop doing that.
Yes, you're exactly right. And then the warmer the water with that fertilizer, then we get the really bad algae bloom.
That's a recipe for disaster. Well, fortunately,
yes,
we don't have that
absolutely
problem. Now, am I mistaken? Are you down in Isla Mirada, I think, right?
I am sitting here looking at the water right now, and it's absolutely beautiful day in the Keys.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And what has been happening with regard to the action and the fish down in Isla Mirada?
The action has not stopped. All your winter fish are still coming in heavy and hot. The kingfish bite's been on fire.
Wow.
I can't put a trolling line in the water right now without catching a kingfish. And then for some reason, since January, the reef bite's been so hot that all the charter fishers are going up on the reef. The yellowtail snapper, you can limit out quick these days. And like I keep saying every week, the grouper knows that season's over because they're biting and they're coming up big and healthy. So I think they send them an announcement when the season's over. So.
That's, like I said last time, that's why they go to school. It's a school of fish. They're being schooled on this stuff.
It's a school, exactly. And they're very smart. So, but yeah, saw a lot of action in the water yesterday, which was really nice to see because a lot of wildlife means healthy water and a healthy reef. And yesterday, my girlfriend and I went out. We saw a giant, beautiful eagle ray, which those are just so majestic. Beautiful giant sea turtle, and a nice amount of nice little baby nurse sharks. But to see that type of wildlife up on the reef is really nice because it means the reef is healthy and doing great. So just thrilled that that's all out there.
Yeah, we've heard Robert Warner with Florida Fisherman magazine. He was on. He's on every show, but one of the shows he was on was describing something. Again, one of the things I love about the shows I learned, I didn't realize that using an improper kind of sun tanning lotion or something of that nature actually damages the reefs, and there are places down in the Keys where they're going to ban this stuff.
Okay, that's actually something I wanted to talk about today, Miss Scarlett, and I always listen to the show, but I did not listen as early as Robert was on. But yes, I'm quite an advocate for that. Actually, it started. There's a product in the sunscreen nowadays that's actually killing parts of the reef.
Yeah,
and the first place to ban it was actually Hawaii, and Hawaii banned sunscreen. I'm not sure, but quite a while ago, and it was killing their reef. They were very upset. So Florida's finally caught on. And they're starting to make new sunscreen products without these ingredients in it that harm our reef. But yes, Florida's finally caught on. The sunscreens will be outlawed that have this product in them. I'm not even sure what the ingredient is that damages the reef, but it kills the reef off. So yes, make sure you use the proper suntan lotion. I'm not going to tell people not to wear sunscreen, but please make sure it's the one that's safe for the reef, and Florida will stop carrying the one that's not.
One of our guests, Captain Ron Weintraub, he's with the Skeeter Beater. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his product is absolutely safe for the reefs. It's safe for children. It's one of the few that you will see no warning signs on. Safe for children, safe for the reef, safe for your pets. Very powerful product. It's called the Skeeter Beater. Skeeterbeater.com, I believe, is the website, and you can find. Yeah, you'll find a variety of products there. One of them is his sunscreen lotion, and which if I'm not mistaken, was accepted by Hawaii. I may be mistaken about that, but Pam, do you recall? Did he say it was accepted by Hawaii?
Yes. The other one is a product, I think it's called Reef Safe, REEF Safe.
Yeah.
Reef Safe, okay.
Yeah.
So we have Skeeter Beater and Reef Safe.
Yeah, Captain Ron Weintraub with Skeeter Beater. He's had his product out for quite some time. The thing that turned me on about his product is that he said it's safe for children. A lot of the stuff,
which is fantastic.
A lot of the stuff you put on, you got to be very careful. I think minimum age is 11 or 12 years old. And a lot of us, a lot of people don't have just 11 or 12 years old. They got younger children. So what do you do about that? You take the chance of putting this stuff on them and see. If it's toxic to the reef, it has to be toxic to the human. My goodness.
I was just going to say the same thing. If it's killing the reef, what do you think it's going to do to a tiny child's skin?
Yeah.
Osmosis is a very powerful thing. And, I have a weird thoughts on sunscreen anyway, but yes, when I heard it was killing the reefs, I immediately jumped on that because anything that kills our reefs is bad.
Yeah.
We're already losing our reefs at a rate that's not acceptable. So we should not do anything to speed that up.
Anything we can do to help preserve. And this is why I push things like we were talking earlier about CCA, getting out there and literally picking up the garbage and having an opportunity to be rewarded. Well, you're going to be rewarded for it anyway, but I mean, monetarily
you'll
somehow.
Die laughing. My girlfriend who's been with me this weekend from out of town, she actually gets giggles because I walk around everywhere we've gone. I grumble things under my breath and I walk around picking up garbage.
God bless you.
And she's sitting here right now shaking her head vehemently because I can't stand it. I do all those beach cleans up and I'm active with Captains for Clean Water. And to see our beaches with just beer bottles and cigarette butts and water bottles just spread everywhere, it blows my mind.
Isn't it crazy?
I picked up garbage all weekend.
I see these beaches that are just full of junk, but no dogs allowed.
Isn't that insane? Yep. It's not the dogs that cause the problem, it's the people. I'd rather see a few dog piles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, you can cover them up with sand, dig a little hole, and just push them in the hole and cover them up. Yeah. My goodness, But you
Whereas
even
a coffee cup is not biodegradable.
That's right.
It takes 100 years for that to decompose.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
my
yes,
goodness.
I picked up an extraordinary amount of garbage this weekend, and it really is sickening to me. So I even said out loud, it's about time for me to organize another beach cleanup down here.
Wow. Well, I appreciate people like you who do things like that. Oh, my goodness. 360.org, I think, is the one. Pam, is that right? What is it? Ocean 360? 360 Ocean? I can't think of it.
I think it's Ocean 360.
Yeah. They do...
And anybody who's got a captain's license, Captains for Clean Water is a fantastic organization. So anybody who's got a captain's license, get involved. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I think Ocean 360 works with them somehow. But one of the things I like about them is they go out on these, they call it ghost trap hunts. And they go out and they literally pick up the junk out of the bay and stuff like that, cleaning it up. And then they give people a lunch. I think they give them a lunch. It's all included. And they get rewarded with different kinds of prizes. And then they take that stuff that they pick up, and they don't just stick it in the landfill and create another problem. They repurpose it, which is, that's... For somebody like me, I come from a plastics background, and plastics is a great product. But unfortunately, plastics is made from petroleum. Because of that, it doesn't break down in our environment very easily. It takes, in some cases, thousands of years. If we made plastics out of hemp, there's a big controversy about that, but I know this for a fact. If we made plastics from hemp, they would be every bit, you can do anything with hemp oil that you can do with petroleum oil. The big difference is the hemp oil breaks down, sometimes in as little as 90 days, in most cases less than 6 months. So whatever plastic bottles that end up in the sea would literally break down in the sea. Instead of little pieces end up being in fish's gills or fish's stomachs. They pull up these whales and they're full of plastic, and it's shameful because we know better. So anyway, that's a whole other show.
It's sickening, actually. Yeah, I could tell you stories all day long, Riscala, about the things I've cut out of fish bellies, and it just makes me disgusted. I can't take it.
It's sad. It's just, when there's a better way, when we know there's a better way.
Wrapped in nets and lines and you name it, and it's just really sad.
Yeah.
People should be much more careful. And by the way, there's beach cleanups. I was involved in several of them, and they're wonderful, wonderful events to go to. Like you said, you get lunch.
Everybody
you get
wins.
A bag full of goodies.
Yeah, everybody
and
wins.
You literally sift through the sand on the beaches to get all of the microplastics. And like you said, I think that 360 for Ocean, are they the ones that repurpose them into bracelets and sell them?
I think they take the traps and repurpose them, recycle them as traps, and then the other stuff they repurpose, I'm not sure what they do with, but I'm fairly certain that it does not go like right back into the fill, so we're just putting more trash into the fill. They do different things with them.
What they do is all Yeah, all the traps get donated to FWC.
That's what it
and
is.
FWC uses them for a base to do clam bars and oyster bars.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
We are completely out of time. God bless you, Angelia. Thank you for doing things like that. I appreciate it. And,
My pleasure.
Again, she'll be on next week, my friends. And quickly, Angelia, before you go, people want to reach you. How do they do that?
FloridaSaltyCowgirl.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Florida Salty Cowgirl, or you can always reach me at 813-610-0078.
Have a wonderful day, my dear. Miss Pam, thank you. You are always so gracious with your time, and every Sunday I look forward to having you on. God bless you. Wish you a wonderful day, ladies.
Tight lines, everybody.
Peace out.